And we're back again for the next review slash analysis slash observation video of the Friendship is Magic series. I really liked doing the first one of these because I got to rewatch the episode, and I love a lot of the episodes, and I really love this episode. So it should be a fun one because there is a lot to talk about. So after the recap, we get the first scene, and Mayor Mare says sees her, only she knows where the princess is. How would you know that, Mayor Mare? I don't know why they did that dialogue. I mean, she could be just trying to get the Royal Guard, the Solar Guard, to stop Nightmare, but for her to be like, she knows where the princess is. Why? What has shown that to be true? I mean, I guess we could take it at her word, but how would Mayor Mare know that? That's always bugged me as a line, but a lot of stuff in this episode bugs me, and I'll get to that. So the guard blitz Moon, and Moon wrecks them immediately. Now, the guard is down, and there's just a bunch of ponies from Ponyville around. So obviously Nightmare Moon is going to start wrecking face, right? Apparently, what you do when your main opponent, Celestia, is not around and you've basically wrecked the only thing that can defend the innocent creatures of the place you're trying to subjugate, after you get rid of those two obstacles, what do? You run away. That's obvious, right? When you've defeated the military part of your enemy and your enemy's nowhere to be found, what do? You run away. I've never understood why Moon turned into gas or smoke and just decided to leave here. I mean, logically you'd think, oh, she wanted to get the elements to stop them from being able to stop her. But the thing is, Celestia's gone. And you don't know where the elements are? If the elements are already together, she has no foreknowledge of what is happening, and she's already overcome one of the obstacles, which is the army, and Celestia's not here. So just start wrecking crap. Why run away? Okay. Anyways, moving on. Twilight goes to do research on the elements because she wants to stop Moon, so she goes back to her home, and the rest of the main six follow her, and Rainbow Dash is being all aggressive, but Applejack calms her down, and they listen to her about the elements of harmony and stuff. What I really like about this still, right here, is that it shows the concern with Pinky. Now, it may just be a me thing, but I really feel like Pinky got ultra flanderized later. I mean, everyone did, but like Pinky just became a big joke even during serious moments. No matter what was happening, she was bouncing around and being funny. And that happens in a couple seconds, even in this scene. But I still like being able to see Pinky be like concerned and sad in certain moments. And not only in episodes where she specifically is meant to be sad and learn a lesson or whatever, but in moments like this, during a climax, during something that's important, that they wrote her to be concerned as well. So like I said, we immediately get the joke with Pinky. She finds the book, and Twilight was like, how did you find it? And she was like, it was under E. And like we get that little joke, but then like immediately after that, she's immediately concerned again here. And that's good, because like I said, it's good to see Pinky concerned. Her being serious is good to balance out her being goofy and dumb. There is a bit of an animation error on this part. Twilight is telekinetically holding the book, and she has no aura on her horn, which they do fix like almost immediately after this, but that is an error. While this is going on, while they're researching the elements and how to find them and stuff, Moon is basically watching from the window. And I don't understand. I've said Moon is not a great villain to me, and it's because we only really get like certain spots of Moon, and it's because she's so bad at being a villain. I don't understand why she wouldn't just wreck them right now. Why not just go to them directly and just destroy them with magic, or even just like anything. Like if Twilight is savvy to what Moon is and how it's possible to defeat her, why not just go and absolutely wreck her? The elements aren't around, and Celestia isn't around. So go to the one, take her. Like she could literally just take Twilight, and then this is all solved. I know it's like for the purpose of telling the story and stuff, but I'll always say characters don't need to be stupid for you to write a good story. And I just feel like Moon was really stupid because like there were so many things she could have done differently other than I'll go to the castle of the two sisters and I'll wait for them to follow and try and stop them. It's really, really, really strange to me. We get a continuation of the animation error right here. Twilight is holding up the book with her telekinesis, and we still don't have an aura, so that's a mistake. I guess a continued mistake. It's still the same one, but it's two different scenes, so they hadn't noticed yet, I guess. They head over to the Everfree Forest, and they're going to go in, and again, retcons affect what we see, because we get this really focused on moment where Applejack mentions friends again, and that they're not going to let Twilight do it herself. And we get not only a sound cue, but a really like awkward look from Twilight, because she's so socially awkward and has never had friends and doesn't know what friendship is. And when they retconned after amending fences, it's like she's not that bad, everyone. She's had friends and she's been social with other ponies, but like as far as we understood here prior to those retcons, Twilight was just a very introverted weirdo. So they all head into the Everfree Forest, and I wanted to show this still because Fluttershy in particular isn't worried about it. She's smiling and she's happy. And I'm not sure how, because like I said, pilot, I don't know why Fluttershy turned so like scared of everything. I don't remember, like obviously at this point I would assume that her cottage isn't even near. I mean, it has to be because they eventually put it there, but I don't know if in the writing they had already said that Fluttershy's cottage was near the Everfree. But like, I found it weird because it again feels like flanderization of the character of like, oh, she's the scared one and she has to be really scared all the time. And like, Fluttershy wasn't that here. She was obviously not worried at all about going into the big spooky forest, and I found that interesting. So they're in the forest, and Twilight says, or asks, so none of you have ever been in here before? And Rarity says, heavens no. And that's weird, because Fluttershy lives right next to it, so I'd assume even by this point that Fluttershy has gone in at least a little bit. It would be really weird to be that close to the Everfree and not a single time ever have gone in it. Moon's first attack is to destroy the ground from underneath them, which, okay, fine. So essentially, she's trying to kill them. Not the Pegasus, because they can fly, but she's trying to kill the other four. That makes sense now, I suppose. What I want to point out here, though, is how different Fluttershy's flying was in the pilot to how they started doing it in the actual show. Rainbow Dash catches Pinkie Pie, and Fluttershy is zooming. She goes pretty quick to catch Rarity, and she's not like she's like a little panicked. She's like, oh my, I think, but she's not like frozen like she is in later episodes when she just cannot fly whatsoever. And she does save Rarity, so I feel like, again, flanderized Fluttershy's flying capabilities, along with her being scared a lot, those were, like, really, really exaggerated. She couldn't fly when she was scared. There have been moments where it was life and death, even in later episodes, like, I forget the ones, but, like, where other Pegasus have to help her because she's scared. But like she'd be scared here too. They literally were falling to their death essentially. So I think it has to do again with this being essentially what is the pilot and not actually being the show. Applejack saves, in quotation marks, Twilight by telling her the truth, being honest with her, and telling her to let go. But this is a really strange way of handling this. Applejack could have just as easily been like, just let go, Rainbow Dash is going to catch you. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, she's being honest either way. It's really weird that she had to be, like, vague about it for some reason. I don't know what the writers were, like, their intentions were with making her just trust me. And it's like, well, just trust me, Rainbow will catch you. She's like right there. It's a really weird scene. I don't mind it, but it's really weird the way they handled it. Moon's second plan is a great one. She tries to kill them again with a animal, a manticore, a lion, essentially. A lion, scorpion, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, okay, this makes sense. So Moon went from trying to kill them by plummeting to their death, and the Pegasus foiled that plan, to trying to kill them with a predator, which is makes sense. Good idea. That makes sense to me. And a manticore would be scary. So, my favorite part of this fight, quote unquote fight, is this: the manticore speed blitzes Rarity, and she's the girly one of the group. She's the fashionista and the diva and the clothes one. And I was like, oh crap, what does she do? And she literally dodges and instant counterattacks. And that made me respect Rarity for pretty much the rest of the show. When a giant beast attacks you and your instinct is dodge counter, you are a cool character. That is awesome to me. So Fluttershy ends up figuring out that the manticore has a thorn in its paw, and she takes it out, and the manticore is no longer angry. And they get by this trial as well. And it shows after that the Pokey was the Nightmare Moon Cloud. And like, why would Nightmare Moon turn into a Pokey to try and annoy the manticore when she should have a plethora of spells as an alicorn to put the manticore under her control, or to permanently hurt it so it's not as just a pokey in the hand? All right, I'll cut off like a finger so that it's enraged. Like, it's I know I'm being nitpicky, but my brain will do that because Nightmare Moon is a villain, and villains should be smart, because that is one of the things that make villains really interesting, is how cunning and how they think. And Moon's whole strategy there was, I will become a thorn and go into the paw of the lion, and it will be so mad that it will kill the ponies. And that's a strategy, I guess. So this is where things get kind of weird. Moon tried to kill them by causing the ground to crumble from beneath them and them to fall. Then she tried to piss off a manticore so that it would kill them. And then she tried to make scary trees. Trees that had faces and that were a little bit scary. That's really weird. It gets weirder from here because of what's coming up. But like, this is where I was kind of like, so we went from murder to murder to, I hope these faces that are scary will stop them. Yeah, that's a little bit weird. We get Rainbow Dash screaming here as well, and I think that's good, because like I said, I feel like the characters really got flanderized later, and like Rainbow was like, I can't appear scared or look scared, I'm tough and I'm not afraid. And like here it was just normal. Rainbow got just as scared as everyone else, and that's fine. People get scared. There's nothing wrong with getting scared. And we didn't have to deal with the crap that we got with like a lot of the characters. Rainbow, Fluttershy being absolutely terrified all the time. We didn't have to deal with that yet. We get Giggle at the Ghosty, and it's really good. This is a really good song. Like for the first impression, it's not too long that a newer person would be like, "Oh, this is too long," and it's not too short that it's like not really a song. It's still a song. Like it's got a decent length. It's got an incredibly good message. Uh, it's positive. It's bubbly. It's a very good Pinkie Pie song, and uh, it's really good this early. Later, in a later episode, this might have been a bit more of a weaker song, but right here, it's a really strong song. So they overcome the third hurdle with laughter, and that's fair. The last hurdle, the Manticore was overcome with kindness. But when you really think about it, because like the next ones, they have like they fall into the same category. Oh, it's their element, and they exercise it. Applejack's really doesn't work. They didn't conquer anything with honesty. All that happens is Pinky and Rarity are saved by Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy, and then whether or not Applejack told Twilight the truth or not, Twilight would have been safe. She could have just been like, "Shut up, let go," and like it wouldn't have mattered because Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy would have caught Twilight. So like, even from this early on in the series, Applejack kind of got the short end of the stick. Lots of people say, "Oh, Applejack is like a background pony." Yeah, even from like this early on in the series, that kind of was already going on. Rarity is next, and we get Stephen Magnet, and basically, Nightmare Moon cut off his mustache, half of it, so like he's crying, and it's causing the lake to bubble, and basically causing the lake to become uncrossable. So, two gripes, huge gripes. The first one is okay, so now we've gone murder, scary forest wood, and a river that's hard to cross. So we're like de-escalating like crazy from like the severity of these challenges. But not only that, we already saw earlier that Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy could carry ponies. Like they could at least lift them for short periods of time. So this this obstacle only really affects four of the ponies again. It only really affects the non-flyers, except wait, Twilight can literally teleport. She does it later in this episode. Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash can both fly, and what is stopping Twilight from teleporting across the lake with the other girls, or Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy just carrying the girls if they need to? It's such a like not threatening or even like hard obstacle that like it's kind of becoming laughable at this point, and it gets especially funny on the next one. So Rarity's generosity fixes this problem. She cuts off her tail and gives it to Stephen Magnet to have as his mustache, and he stops crying and being sad, so the river calms down. Um, I think this scene especially hurts because it's so early for Rarity, because we don't know Rarity well enough. Um, Later in the series, we get It Isn't the Main Thing About You, which is about Rarity's main messing up. And she has a whole episode dedicated to like being depressed and unhappy because her mane is gone. We didn't really like, we knew she was a fashionista, we knew she enjoyed like glamour, we knew that having a tidy mane was important from the first episode, but we didn't know like how much Rarity cared about those things. And like later when we get like more character development for her and stuff, we understand. And this is a huge action for Rarity. Like cutting off her tail and giving it away is incredible levels of generosity for her. And I think it hurts being so early. I think it's especially good for her character because it just shows how generous she is, but we wouldn't know that as viewers until later in the series. Now, this is where I was just rolling my eyes essentially. we we had murder with the falling off the cliff, murder with the manticore, scary trees, I hope they stop, River, I hope they stop. The bridge is out. I hope they just turn around and go home. And like, then it's exacerbated because on this part, it's Rainbow Dash's time, and they see the bridges out, the main six, and Pinkie Pie goes, "Now what?" And Rainbow Dash flaps her wings and says, "Duh." And Pinkie Pie says, "Oh yeah." And I'm like, why is duh now, Rainbow Dash? Why is duh now? You could have done on the last one and flown over. There's nothing different from like a river that's hard to get across and a like a literal gorge or like a valley or whatever. It's like, okay, so we're just really suspending disbelief at this point. Um and the de-escalation is really, really bad. I really wish they would have gone the opposite. I feel like these should have happened in the opposite order. Rainbow should have went first, crossing something but being loyal. Then it should have been Rarity being generous to help cross something else. Then Pinkie Pie being laughter and causing them to bypass something that was scary. And then finally Nightmare Moon's like, I've tried to be nice and get them to stop, or I've tried to be less drastic, and then she just goes crazy and she's like, okay, now I'm just going to try and kill them. But going the opposite direction, it was really weird. The Shadow Bolts are Rainbow Dash's test, and again, I'm just like, okay, so you've separated Rainbow from the group. Why not just jump her? Have the Shadow Bolts jump Rainbow Dash, or Nightmare Moon herself could jump Rainbow Dash. Why not just take one of them out of the equation? And I know it's a kid's story, but like my brain's going to go again if Nightmare Moon is a competent villain, and this just makes me think that Nightmare Moon is not a competent villain. She just seems really dumb to me, and I can't get over that fact because it's just like, dude, you had so many opportunities to win this, and you just threw everything. Rainbow Dash easily rejects the offer, and I mean, of course she does. It doesn't even make sense when you think about it. Like, Rainbow Dash's dream is to be a Wonderbolt, and like the Shadow Bolts are who? Like, they didn't exist prior to Nightmare Moon doing this. They say, like, we're the greatest aerial team in the Everfree Forest. You mean the forest where no pony goes and nobody lives here? It's just stupid. It's so stupid. Nightmare Moon's whole strategy here is, like, really dumb. It almost works on Rainbow because Rainbow's kind of dumb, but, like, think about it for a second. Okay, so where are we doing shows at? Well, we don't do shows. It's just silly when you think about it further than like 3 seconds. The main six reach the castle, and we get they find the elements, and there's only 5, and they need to find the 6th, and we get a really, really stupid, convenient. Just we need to get them separated. What do we do? And Applejack is like, come on, girls, she needs to concentrate, so they leave the room. But it's like, you guys could literally just stand there and be quiet and let her concentrate. But, like, for the sake of plot, stupidity has to happen. That really sucks. I don't care. If stupidity has to happen for the sake of plot, you should probably change the stupidity into something that makes more sense. Like, something even there that would have made more sense would be, like, if they heard a noise outside of the room, like from where they came, and Applejack was like, let's go check it out to stop. Maybe it's Nightmare Moon and she's coming to try and stop Twilight from finding the elements, so we'll stand between her and her. But like, no, it's just like, let's just leave the room because Twilight needs to have the room by herself. And then we get more really bad writing. So they did that whole separating them just so Twilight could get teleported away by Nightmare Moon. And then, like, it's not, oh man, Nightmare Moon took Twilight super far away, or teleported her to another realm, or did any of these things. She's literally, like, one part of the castle over. Like, literally, like, 20 feet that way. Like, they're like, oh, she's over there, let's run. And it takes them, like, literally, like, a minute or two to get there. And it's just like, you guys, this is really silly. Like, why are we doing this? As far as, like, what's going on, it's just, as soon as you start thinking about it, it's like, okay, so they had to separate them so Twilight could get separated with just Moon, and Moon only took her this far because we need them to come back so that they can use the elements in a second. And it's just like, okay, and it's ridiculous. So Moon and Twilight come face to face, and this is ridiculous too, because Moon is Luna and she's an alicorn, and she wrecked Celestia minus the elements. So realistically, Luna should be able to turn Twilight into dust in like a second or two, but for some reason she's just posturing, and like she falls for goading, which is really weird. Like I said, Twilight goads Moon into a charge, and this is really weird again, because the entire time Twilight is prepping a spell, and we can see that we're brand new to this entire world, and we can see that Twilight is prepping a spell with her horn. Moon is not. I don't know what Moon thought was going to happen or what she planned. Like, was she just going to gore Twilight with her horn? What was Moon's plan here? Like, Moon is so freaking dumb. I'm sorry. Like, she's already failed to stop the main six from getting there in every single way possible. She defeated the Royal Guard, but she didn't even do anything to capitalize on that. And then she came here, waited for Twilight to come, and then got goaded into a charge, like a game of chicken, I guess. And then, like, she's not even prepping a spell. Like, what is she doing? She's so dumb. This scene is it's not bad to me. I don't think any of this episode is bad. It's just funny when I overanalyze. I know it is overanalyzation, but I watch other stuff, I think, with a brain. I'm sorry that my brain works. So Twilight obviously had a plan. She teleports right by Moon or through Moon or to the elements, and like, first time Twilight teleported, very little fatigue. She goes and grabs her head for a second. These people, all you people who think teleporting is extremely difficult, or that like Twilight can't do it, or Starlight can't do it, or Celestia can't do it, or Moon can't do it, Luna, they've all done it a lot, and it's never shown to be like tiring or too fatiguing. So you guys are crazy. But Twilight teleports. She tries to use magic on the elements to create the spark. It doesn't work. Moon crushes them, but like, I think like everyone knew already. I mean, maybe not children, but like everyone knew. Okay, so the main six are gonna come right now, and then they're gonna be the elements. So everything from here on out is wonderful and beautiful and makes me cry, and is, I think, the embodiment of the entire point of MLP. Twilight hears the girls coming, and she realizes that they're her friends, and she is the spark. She is friendship. A lot of people don't seem to understand that, and I don't know why. Everybody's like, why is magic an element of harmony? The show is called Friendship is Magic because friendship is magic. The final element of harmony is friendship. Twilight embodies friendship. She embodies magic, but she also embodies friendship, true friendship. That's why she is the princess of friendship. And people don't seem to understand that, and I don't know why. It's not that hard of a concept. The literal show is called Friendship is Magic, i.e. friendship equals magic, i.e. the element of magic is the element of friendship. It's very simple. But yeah, when Twilight starts telling Moon about like how like they're her friends, and she starts explaining everything, and then like the shift to this, I was really wondering how they were going to beat Moon, and I still think this is one of the coolest. This is probably the coolest villain defeat in the entire series, because like after this they kind of like repeat it, like they turn Discord to stone and stuff, and like it's never as cool as this shot this still, and like that's why I even want to show my pony Sona right now, because like this shot is so cool, and like I was just blown away at like what they did with this part. It's such an it's such a true to the point of the series, I think, message and implication of who they are and what they embody. It's just brilliant to me. I absolutely love this scene. I love this episode. Like, even with all the griping and the complaining and the inconsistencies and the silliness, this scene and everything that comes after it too just makes up for anything that could have been negative about this episode. Celestia's first appearance in the show is incredible. She looks incredible. Celestia's design, along with Luna's final powerful design and like Cadence's design, I think they're like three of the best in the entire show. Obviously, Alicorns look amazing. Their regalia and their like horseshoes and their like sparkle, like everything about the, especially the royal sisters. I love Celestia and Luna, and seeing her for the first time, it was just like, dang, that's a good design. Like you see her in the opening, but like really seeing her here and hearing her voice and stuff, like you didn't necessarily make the connection that it was her talking at the beginning or whatever, but hearing her and stuff, yeah, Celestia is amazing. I love her, and seeing her for the first time was really, really, really cool. And we immediately get what I like to refer to as depowered Luna. Um, I think I think this was the original design for Luna because she was uh well, I mean, it's speculation, pure speculation, but it feels like they were like going what Faust wanted. It seemed like they still wanted to keep the dynamic that Celestia was the greater sister and Luna was the lesser sister. That's why Luna doesn't have the sparkle in her mane or her tail and stuff, and she looks more normal, like a regular pony. Celestia looks like a goddess basically. And I think that they decided to go against that and make them more seemingly equal later. And that's why Luna gets the sparkle in her mane and her tail and stuff, and she's darker and she looks a lot more fierce. Because Luna later, like here, it looks like it looks like they're sisters, but one looks like she dominates the other, like just in everything, in age, in grace, in beauty, and all of this stuff. And like Luna, when she is powered, in her powered version, as I like to call it, she looks more equivalent to Celestia, just night. She looks like the night, and Celestia looks like the day. And I think that it was a really good idea to give Luna that other form. Although this Luna is still really, really cute. So all is forgiven. Luna asks, asks for forgiveness. They work things out. The sisters work things out. Everyone returns to Ponyville. I really liked how they handled Celestia prior to this because it made her look like she knew everything that was going on, and she did everything purposely. And she tells Twilight that, like, Twilight is like, "You told me not to pay attention to," and she's like, "I told you to make friends." And like, I like that side of Celestia. She loses it very quickly in the series, and she just becomes really, 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 really. So she gets used so poorly that the fandom just grabbed on to the whole prospect of, I think that Celestia can see the future, and people did that because they felt like Celestia literally was so useless that she had to be purposely being useless. Now, that's either brilliant writing or terrible writing, depending on what's actually true, and we don't know what is true, so we have to go on what we're given, and what we're given is Celestia just eventually starts being written to be very, very, very atrocious. I wanted to show this still though because it's really funny because Luna is in Ponyville and they're all accepting her and giving her leis and stuff. I don't know if they're called leis. They're called leis in Hawaii. In Hawaii, it's called a lei. I don't know if it's the same thing. But they're like so kind to her and they love her. And then we all know what happens in Luna Eclipsed in season 2, and I think that's really funny. So the later retconning is super brutal to this scene because it just makes this scene seem even more ridiculous. That retcon really sucked. The whole one in Celestial Advice, where apparently Celestia knew about the main five being here already and being friends. they weren't friends prior to this. You could tell that like not all of the like, especially after episodes like this, like in Griffin the Brush Off, when Rainbow Dash doesn't know that Pinkie Pie likes pranks and stuff. You could tell they weren't friends, and then they tried to retcon that they were friends, and Celestia saw them there, so that's why she sent Twilight. But then in this scene right here, she's like, "Why are you so glum? Aren't you glad you get to return to your studies in Canterlot?" It's like, no, Celestia never had an intention of Twilight staying in Ponyville. Like, she was like, okay, that's good, you could be done. But then she noticed, oh, Twilight really does care a lot about her friends, so I'll let her stay here. It's really bad, the retcons, but like, what are you gonna do? Retcons are retcons. And once again, those retcons hurt because Celestia tells Spike to take a letter, and she's like, Twilight's gonna live here and tell me all about the magic of friendship. And Twilight's like, I love my friends so much. And then you think of Moon Dancer, and you think of Minuet, and you think of Lyra, and you think of Lemon Drops. And you're just like, dude, Twilight does not care about them at all. And it's like wild because apparently they weren't that bad of friends, but like, this again, retconning is amazing. This was great. This ending is great because it's the setup for the whole premise of the series, which is Twilight writing her letters to Princess Celestia about friendship. Um, it's it's so good. We get so many questions now. Oh, cool. What are they gonna? What is the next episode gonna be about? What is the entire series gonna be about? It's gonna be about her writing friendship lessons, but like clearly they're going to have like issues and stuff. Like, is it going to just be a slice of life, a whole show? Because these first two episodes were not very slice of life. That was a pretty crazy villain, and we got some pretty crazy situations. And like, it's really funny because we all know at the end of season 1 we get Best Night Ever, and it's like nothing. They just go to the Grand Galloping Gala, and it's like, okay, so this show's not going to be very epic or anything. And then the first episode of season 2, the first two, we get freaking Return of Harmony, and we get Discord. And it's like, okay, actually, this this is like really, really crazy, and like, yeah, it all evolves into like a crazy thing. But this episode, I would give it perfect. It's 5 stars. I love this opening. I think that this opening, out of all the seasons, is probably my favorite and the strongest. The Discord one isn't bad, but it's not as good as this one, I don't think. Season 3 is excuse me. Season 3 is Sombra and the Crystal Empire. That one definitely isn't as good as this one. Season 4 is, oh, I know the season 4 ending is Tyrek. I don't know what the season 4 opening. Y'all get on me. I can't remember them all off the top of my head. I know season 5 is Starlight in her town. Season 6 is no, season 7 is Celestial Advice. Season 6 is, I can't get into it. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I really, really love this opening. I think it is one of the best, if not the best. And I definitely have to give it 5 stars.